Hello there, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining me once again here on Talkin' Fight for another episode of Boxing News Today. We get this information courtesy of our friends across the pond at boxing247.com, as well as a quick skirt around the internet just to see if there's any juicy rumors floating around, including some headline-grabbing rumors, you might call them right now. But at the end of the day, let's have a quick look at some of the recent fights that took place, quite a few. I'm going to start off with some of the fighters that we've been talking about for the past couple of weeks. And one of those was former WBA champ who waited 3 years for another shot at glory after losing his belt to Josh Taylor back in 2019. And talking about Regis Prograis, he's now had that challenge with Jose Zepeda and won that battle that took place down in California. And it's very interesting to see, because going into it, he was quite excited about how he would be if he did win, and he did win. And now he does want that rematch with the 140-pound champ, Josh Taylor. Jose Zepeda, he's 35-3, 27 knockouts, was a heck of a challenge. But nonetheless, Regis Prograis now 28-1, by the way, 24 knockouts. Certainly looks in good stead to have that rematch with Josh Taylor. We'll see what happens there. It's really doubtful that he'll get the chance to fight with the Scottish fighter because he got a rematch with Jack Catterall coming up next year. So in the foreseeable future, although Prograis thinks he's better than Taylor at this stage in their careers, we'll have to see what happens. And a good example of what might or might not happen is what is happening in the heavyweight division, which I'll talk about a little later. But, if, for example, Taylor wins against Catterall, he might likely defend against unified lightweight champ Teofimo Lopez. And that's quite frankly a bigger fight on paper than a Taylor Prograis rematch. So we don't really know what's up next for Prograis. And none of these articles I could find really offering an opinion in that regard. And I'm trying to see quite quickly from my fans out there whether Prograis himself said anything. He worked his ass off every day to get back to where he is. He'd love a rematch, but no, nothing about who he may be fighting in the near future. But he's a good fighter, and we do look forward to seeing his name in the headlines again. Let's move over to Zach Parker's fight, which took place at the O2 over London against super middleweight John Ryder. And quite frankly, that was for a shot at the WBO interim title. And unfortunately had to be aborted at the end of the fourth round when Ryder was unable to continue the fight due to a hand injury. So a little bit of disappointment all around. But what I wanted to talk about with respect to that card in general was the undercard, because we have mentioned quite a few of these names and support quite a few, well, all of these fighters, but a few notable names you'll hear here. Hamzah Sheeraz is the new Commonwealth middleweight champ and still the WBC silver title holder following a brutal destruction of River Wilson Bent. Sheeraz, by the way, is now 17-0. A blitz of body shots from Sam Noakes in the fourth round saw the Maidstone man realize his goal of a perfect 10 wins with 10 knockouts with a stoppage of previously unbeaten Calvin McCord to win the Commonwealth lightweight title. So good for Sam. So a quick look. Oh, Dennis the Menace McCann is the new Commonwealth super bantamweight champ following a systematic breaking down of Joe Ham. In what was a mature performance, the Menace was more measured and patient in his work from his typically wide stance. Ham had few answers and was in trouble on each occasion. McCann chose to let his hands go in the fourth, fifth, and eighth round. The eighth turned out to be the last when a right uppercut stunned the Scot, and the follow-up assault convinced referee Marcus McDonald to wave it off at 2 minutes, 28 seconds of the clock. So McCann moves his record along to 14-0. And the third professional title, following on from his WBO youth and WBC international silver successes. Good for Dennis the Menace McCann, who we featured often on Talkin' Fight. Big Bang Pierce O'Leary won his first professional title, the WBC International Super Lightweight belt, with a rugged, hard-fought victory over Emmanuel Mungangela. The Dubliner now moves to 11-0, and had his way with Mungangela, who, quite frankly, continued to show remarkable defiance and bravery throughout the fight, and looked pretty close. But O'Leary won it on the scorecards, 99-90, 99-88, and an unlikely 96-92. But nonetheless, he won. Tommy Fletcher made a professional treble with a win in his third fight against Yuri Akachik. He also made quick work of his Czech opponent, and then the fight was over when the Norfolk Nightmare ripped in a short and devastating left uppercut that left Krejci out for the count 2 minutes and 19 seconds of the first round. And finally, on that undercard, Sonny Liston Ali successfully negotiated his fifth professional fight and comfortably outpointed Georgy Velichkov, winning all 6 rounds. So there you go. That was a pretty dandy fight to be had, despite the main event having to be canceled. Let's have a quick look at our next fight that we're going to have a look at. Oh, yes. Subject surely of knockout of the week, Adam Azim. Wow. One of the most exciting prospects in British boxing, delivered a barbaric knockout, 42 seconds into the second round, to a dangerous and experienced opponent in Ryland Charlton. Now, I watched this one and didn't expect it to be this short of a fight, but boy, what a knockout. Azim now moves to 7-0 as a professional with 6 knockouts, and at only 20 years old looks destined for superstardom in the sport of boxing. On that undercard, we had Mikhail Lawal defeat David Jameson by technical knockout. Shannon Ryan, who I've talked about often, defeating Ivanka Ivanova. Let's have a quick look here. Shannon Ryan didn't put a foot wrong in a flawless victory over Ivanova, controlling the fight from the first bell until the last. Ryan started the fight boxing perfectly, using the jab to great effect to hit without being hit. Ivanova could do little in response as Ryan managed the distance well and remained evasive. As the fight progressed, Shannon Ryan began to open up and stay at close range, long enough to throw clutches of ferocious hooks to the head and body. Ivanova ended up seriously hurt by the end of the fight and looked to be flagging. Shannon Ryan hasn't lost a round in her professional career yet and looks set to keep moving forward and challenge for the title soon in the fast-moving world of women's boxing, and that is an understatement. The popular super flyweight sensation, nicknamed Chaos, made a quick return, and that was part of Boxers Super Sunday, they called it. So congrats to Ben Shalom and the guys over at Boxer for putting on a great fight. Let me have a quick look down the rest of the undercard here. Sam Gilly defeated Sean Robinson, unanimous decision. Yes. Azim's older brother, Hassan Azim, gave a measured, intelligent performance with a calculated moment of savagery to take a shutout points victory against a dogged opponent in Nestor Amukotu, who sometimes stayed standing under 6 rounds of heavy assault. But Azim, like his brother Adam, looks to be on the fast track to greatness, tearing through the ranks at only 22 years of age and without any sign of slowing down. This was just his 5th victory of a professional career that looks set for many more in the future. So congrats to the Azim brothers. They certainly are climbing the ranks. Michael Hennessy Jr. defeated James McCarty with a technical knockout in round number 5. Reese Edwards defeated Alexis Cabore on a points decision, 60-54. Jimmy Lee defeated Jaifias Fiore. Hope I got that name right. Jimmy Lee glided around the ring in his 3rd professional fight, avoiding the worst of his opponent's offense consistently, but not every time. Fiore was able to land at times and made Lee work for his victory. At only 19 years of age, Jimmy Lee looks to be a series star of the future. Shaquille Thompson defeated Gabor Gorbex, a technical knockout in round number 3. Thompson, who's from Sheffield, took an impressive stoppage victory in the first bout of the day, breaking down a skilled and defensive opponent in Gorbeck. Thompson chose his shots well, backing Gorbeck into the ropes on multiple occasions and finding ways through his tight guard, peppering the head and body. Dr. Steele, as he's known, as I said, coming from Sheffield, eventually battered his opponent into submission, and the referee is forced to end the fight, putting another stoppage on his undefeated record. Good stuff. Well done. Jamie TKV, who we've mentioned before on Talking Fight, has moved his professional record to 3-0 with an aggressive performance over Joel Ducil. So that's a good one. Technical knockout. And last one here we talk about George Mitchell defeated Greg O'Neill on points. George Mitchell scored a shutout point victory and got within touching distance of a stoppage multiple times in a strong performance that made a statement to anyone questioning his ability. Mitchell used his jab to great effect throughout the 4 rounds and worked in hooks and uppercuts intelligently. Good stuff. And that all came to us. I think that was Alexandra Palace in London, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, Alexandra Palace in London, where that fight took place, and a great fight indeed it was. Alrighty, let's move along to a couple of, oh my goodness, the Jermaine Franklin and Dillian Whyte fight. My goodness. So in brief, in a nutshell, Jermaine Franklin is pretty upset with the judges, pretty upset that he was to find out that they were all European, and was very upset that he left in the hands of the judges, which we all know on Talkin' Fight he should not have done. But nonetheless, the decision went to Dillian Whyte. The outcome was certainly controversial. A lot of fans online are posting, they thought Dillian Whyte was beaten there. Now, of course, the complication here is Dillian Whyte is promoted by Eddie Hearn in Matchroom's roster, as is Anthony Joshua. And that is what they were both fighting for in a nutshell. A shot at Anthony Joshua in 2023, which would be a payday for either one of them. But Franklin was certainly thinking he was going into this fight as the younger, more aggressive, potentially underdog, but nonetheless, he thought he'd win, and he thought he was going to face a decent mega payday against Joshua in 2023. Now, Whyte, for his part, as you may know, he's getting on there in age, and he didn't really, I'm not going to say he wouldn't care, but it wouldn't matter if Whyte had lost because he's at the end of the road of his career, and he's kind of run out of opportunities for paydays. And especially, does he care about a rematch with Franklin? I really doubt it. But I think he'd be easy prey for Anthony Joshua in their rematch. So anyway, so there's a bit of complication in the heavyweight division. Anthony Joshua, for his part, was recently quoted as saying it's not going to be an easy night at the office for Tyson Fury when he takes on Derek Chisora this upcoming weekend, and that will be covered quite extensively by Holly Donovan in a preview on her show on Friday, and then she'll be actually at the fight broadcasting live for Talking Fight as well. So I'll let her talk at length with respect to this particular fight. It's a trilogy match. And realistically, Tyson Fury is going to win it. Derek Chisora, like Dillian Whyte, is pretty well at the end of the line in terms of where he's at. He's sporting a 33-12 record, 23 knockouts. But he isn't the fighter that he was the last time that he fought Tyson Fury. Fury, as we all know, 6'9". He's 32-0-1, 23 knockouts. Basically still on top of his game. And realistically, will likely remain at the top of the heap with a win over Chisora. And then, is it going to be Alexander Usyk up next for him? I would hope so. It would then mean because I'm pretty sure Usyk is going to continue to challenge for that fight, but he hasn't really said so. So there's a bit of a complication within the heavyweight division as to who's going where. For Anthony Joshua's part, he said on my behalf, I'd like the opportunity to fight and challenge Fury next year. The longer we leave it, it's not good for anyone. So yeah, I would like that opportunity. He continued, good luck with that next fight if he comes through. Then I think he's going to go on to the undisputed fight against Alexander Usyk, and then I'll be fighting somebody else. Then hopefully we both become victorious and look to fight each other. You saw after my last fight what it meant to me, said Joshua, about him mentally imploding after his loss to Usyk last August. Whether you like it or not, that's pure passion. If you don't like it, then don't tune in. That's what I'm about. I love it. I fight. I'm passionate about it, and I want to win. I want to bring it back home. That was a passion. I want to bring it back to the UK and fight for the undisputed championship of the world. And I lost it, and it killed me. So yeah, I'll be in support of Fury for that fight, said Joshua. To put it bluntly, he wants Fury to win so that he can ultimately have another shot for the undisputed title there. Good for him. I do like his passion. I do like what he's saying, but he is having some issues, and I hope he deals with those issues shortly. And because they are all in his head at the moment. In a blockbuster start to 2023, by the way, the middleweight rivals that I've mentioned before, Chris Eubank and Liam Smith, are going to go head to head on a date at the AO Arena in Manchester, Saturday, January 21st. It's an eagerly anticipated bout promoted by Boxer. It's called Boxer Unleashed, and they're going to hold that night in association with Wasserman Boxing. And it'll be shown, of course, on Sky Sports in the UK and then Republic of Ireland. Smith, he's 32, 3-1 with 19 knockouts. Heads into the mouth-watering pay-per-view clash in the form of his life, following wins over Jesse Vargas, Anthony Fowler, and Roberto Garcia. And after winning his boxer debut in September, Smith immediately set his sights on Eubank Jr. as he plots his path to becoming a world champion for a second time. Eubank, for his part, 32-2, 23 knockouts, is a man whose family name needs no introduction at all. He's the son of legendary former world champ Chris Eubank, and the 33-year-old has successfully carved out his own reputation in the sport. But in Smith, Eubank Jr. faces one of the toughest tests of his stellar career. The Brighton-based fighter was a former IBO world title holder and is entering his prime, intent on starting the new year in style. Eager to step back inside the ropes after his proposed October bout with Conor Benn, which was postponed, as we all know, Eubank Jr. fought in February when comfortably outclassing Williams in Cardiff with impressive unanimous decisions points victory. Eubank said, Liam Smith has been in there with some good fighters. Are they on my level? No. He's a competent fighter, but class beats competence every day of the week. It's a good opportunity for me to show that I'm twice the fighter that he is, as well as those that he has faced. For his part, Liam Smith said, he's making a big mistake fighting me. Every time he stepped up to the elite level, he has failed. I am elite, and he will fail again on January 21st in Manchester. Wow, great quotes from a couple of really good fighters, and we do look forward to that result. Boxer CEO and founder Ben Shalom said, what a way to start the new year. This is the fight that British boxing fans have been calling for. There aren't many bigger names in the sport than Chris Eubank Jr., who many believe is coming into his prime now. This is his biggest fight in recent memory against a totally world-class fighter in Liam Smith. Liam has proven at world level and in the form of his life. Many feel that he's a favorite going into this. So there you go, British boxing fans. Something to look forward to in the new year. But in the meantime, as I said, we have a big heavyweight clash coming up. Tyson Fury versus Derek Chisora. And that, my friends, is all the news fit to print for today. Thank you for joining me. Remember to like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and we'll see you at 4 p.m. Eastern Time for Knuckle Up featuring Mike Orr and Cedric Ben.